What's going on, everyone? It's Millen here from True Horizon. Today, we're going to be covering how to prove ROI in your AI deals and ultimately close more sales. So first of all, why trust these lessons at all? These are lessons learned from scaling to $300,000 in MRR for our AI agency. These are lessons and insights that we synthesized from over 25 client engagements from pre-revenue startups all the way up to Fortune 500s. And everything in here is 100% practical application. Lessons learned the hard way by myself and my two co-founders, Nate Herc and Tyler Bauckham, in the trenches. So jumping right into it, why ROI matters in AI sales. AI is very new and it's unproven for most business owners. And so talking about shiny and cool tech doesn't really work. What really works is selling ROI outcomes, because ultimately, the only thing that a prospect or a business owner cares about is how is this particular solution going to increase their profitability. And so when you can shift from selling cool tech and talking about all the latest and greatest in LLM and AI news and actually start discussing real ROI outcomes that drive profitability, increase revenue, or cut costs for a business, that's when you're going to start closing more deals. And so how do we actually do this, right? In the last video, we discussed the discovery call process and how to run a high converting discovery call for your AI agency. One of the things that we discussed is that you should book a second call on that call. So assuming that you have done that and you now have the second call, what do you do in between the first call and the second call? So firstly, what you want to do is you want to review and analyze that call. You should have an AI note taker in there so that you have the transcript. You want to, again, examine the business processes. Going through the first call, many times you're going to uncover a ton of stuff that you didn't previously realize the first go around, and really find those strategic goals that actually are going to drive ROI for the business. You then want to focus on those high impact, high ROI use cases. You want to map that ROI potential. So on that call, you would have uncovered, if you use the framework, hours spent on a particular process, money spent on a particular process, either in sales, tools, time, etc., and then revenue gained from an actual implementation. So you want to go ahead and try to map out these as much as you possibly can based on the information you covered in the first call. Turn that into a business case that you can bring on the next call. And then you also want to go ahead and build out your prototype. So a quick demo, quick proof of concept to actually visualize that automation or that solution in action. So this is really important. This is a demo structure that I picked up some from very close trusted mentors of mine, is the tell, show, tell framework. This framework will really ensure that your demo resonates with the prospect and ultimately is going to drive action. So what it is you tell the prospect what it is you're about to show them. You show them what you actually have to show them, an end-to-end workflow, a demo of some sort, and then you tell them again what they just saw. So this framework makes it very, very easy for folks to understand what it is that's happening. It's generally very difficult for a business owner to comprehend what it is, especially if they're not technical. So running a demo is very, very impactful, and using this framework just hammers it home. So again, tell them what you're about to show them. Show them the actual demo. You want to run a live demo. You don't want to just go through like the nodes in an end-to-end workflow or code or anything like that. You want to actually show them something actioning with live dummy data, and then again tell them what it is that they just saw and map that back to ROI. So the kind of framework around this is recap the pain point, right? So you start off that call recapping them of the exact specific pain points that you uncovered. You actually run the demo using that tell, show, tell framework and quantify that back, everything to dollars, hours, and measurable outcomes, right? Trust me, this is the language that business owners speak. So when you are saying things like this, it's really going to resonate with them of like, hey, your team is spending 50 hours per month here at $50 an hour. That's $2,500 you're spending, plus all this other extra stuff that you talk about. With the automation, we can go ahead and cut that back. Speaking in that language, trust me, is going to really, really drive your conversion rate. So how to actually calculate the ROI? There's a very simple but powerful framework is take the time saved times the hourly rate, right? So if you're saving them 100 hours per month and they have a specific hourly rate, then you multiply those two numbers. That's how much money you're saving them that month from an automation and an efficiency gain. That's not the only value lever, right? You also then have the productivity gains. So what happens when that team or that person gets 100 hours per month back? What type of value can they create with those new hours? You put a price on that as well, right? Let's say you're talking to a salesperson and the use case is going to get them 30 hours per month back on prospect research. Now that's 30 more hours that they have to take 20 more sales calls that month, to spend 30 hours per month extra with the customer, demoing, upselling the solution. There's obviously a lot of tangible value to be had from that as well. And then you go ahead and compound that into revenue growth, right? That's the compounding effect of freeing up resources, getting more time back, and having the new time to go ahead and create more value. As a general rule of thumb, this is just some anecdotal evidence that I've pulled from all of our sales calls, but if the ROI that you can actually prove or at least showcase in a demo and talk to the business owner is greater than minimum 3 times the cost, the deal will almost always close and write itself. And again, that's annually, right? So you can annualize the figures, and business owners will really resonate that as well. So if you're saving them $1,000 per month, frame it as, hey, we're going to save you $12,000 per year, and our cost is, $500 per month. So you get double your money, right? Just as an example. So once you do that, you really want to go ahead and build the business case, right? So package all the ROI into a very clear, quantified business case, super specific metrics that you have uncovered, again, with that business owner and that you've proven there in the automation. This takes time to learn how to do this, but you really want to learn the right types of questions to ask. And the best way to do that, honestly, is to use those 4 pillars that we talked about in my last video. And so using those, you can really drive towards time, money being spent on a particular task, showcase the automation that's going to buy all that back, and document that into a business case that you can share with the business owner. You also want to go ahead and anchor the comparisons, right? If you can really drive and discover that, hey, this automation is going to save you $100,000 per month and we only charge $25,000 per month, that is a no-brainer for the business owner, right? It makes a value prop extremely, extremely obvious. And the clearer you can get to a data-backed representation of that, the sooner you're going to close the deal. So that should really be kind of one of your main goals. Obviously, the main goal is build a relationship with the prospect. The secondary goal to actually close the sale is drive towards being able to say something along the lines of this sentence, right? Like I just said, this saves you $10K per month. We charge $3K. If you can show that and prove to the business owner that that is actually the case, you're golden. I mean, the sale it's going to write itself. They're going to be throwing money at you. The last and final thing you want to do as well is to go ahead and leverage case studies as possible when you're building the business case. Use past client success stories and results wherever it's possible, right? If you don't have any deals, and obviously you can't really do this, but that's actually not true. You actually can do this. If you don't have any deals, what you should do is you should just go build a bunch of free stuff for a bunch of people that you know, either for yourself, for other folks. It actually works really well if you do it for yourself. So you say, look, I could have spent all this time researching you, Mr. Prospect, but instead I had this AI research agent, and that saved me 30 minutes of research on you. I have 10 sales calls lined up this week. I just saved 5 hours for myself that week, right? 300 minutes. So you can actually do that, right? So use yourself as a case study if you don't have any client success stories yet. Go ahead and use yourself, expand that out. It doesn't just have to be that one case that I just mentioned, but go ahead and try to do as much as possible. So some key takeaways here and some next steps. Transform our AI sales approach from a tech focused, talking about LLM and AI and RAG and all this stuff, and really focus on ROI driven outcomes for the actual business owner. So again, you want to focus on the outcomes, prove the value, and anchor on ROI multiples. Frame it as an investment into achieving these ROI numbers. Follow the process of discovery call, map the ROI, demo the business case, Each one of these steps is really going to help you build towards that close. Again, provided you have the solid foundation of a genuine, authentic relationship with that person and really build that trust, right? Like I said, relationship is first. Build a strong business case, plus having that high energy and enthusiasm, that will always go ahead and lead to the conversion. Many times you're going to be able to close on the proving value call. You won't always need a closing call, except if it's a larger customer. Like, you're going to have to work through commercials, you're going to have to get an MSA signed and an information security agreement signed. If this is all like, much larger customers, for your typical SMB, probably $100 million companies and less, like inside the small to mid-market company range, you're probably going to be able to close on these calls because you won't need a closing call to like go through a bunch of documents and stuff. If you don't have to go through a procurement process, like if that's just the person that is going to pull the trigger and send the invoice, go ahead and go for the call. Go ahead and go for the close on this call, right? They're going to be so hot by the end of this call. You would have demoed ROI. You would have built a relationship, had a great call. Their mind is like blown at what you just showed them. You've shown them the business case. You've been able to say something to the effect of, you spend $10K per month on this, I cost $3K, and we're going to totally cut it for you. You're buying back $7K per month. If you can say that with a data-backed plan of why that's true for that person's business, sale is going to close itself, and go ahead and go for the close on this call. I also strongly recommend going onto this call prepared with all your documentation. If you have a proposal, you have a contract, you have an MSA that you typically get folks to sign, which you definitely should. Have all that stuff ready and go for the call, but obviously go for the close. But obviously, it's the invoice, right? It's like lock in the payment first. Everything else can come after that. So lock in that payment. Try to invoice them live on the call if they're hot, if they're ready to go. Yeah, best of luck. I think this is one of the most overlooked portions of a sale, especially for an AI agency, because this stuff is so new. It's like, this entire sales process is new, right? This entire sales methodology that we've been building here to scale to 300K per month is new. And so we've been able to prove it by scaling to 300K per month. And so it's constantly evolving. So, yeah, best of luck. Go ahead and study up on this video. Like, I think this is critical. Go out there, nail some demos, and best of luck closing your deals. Appreciate your time for watching. Thanks.